I'm a South Coast kid. I was born in Hastings. I grew up in another town called Eastbourne. Mostly in the care system. I was moved about at a younger age. Did go back to my home for a little bit. Things didn't work out, and that's why I moved in with my foster family. So my foster brother's up here today.
Yeah,
I mean,
big him up.
you know what I'm saying?
So, was you always naughty, or was there a turning point?
No, I wasn't always naughty. I was like, when I was younger, I was like severely bullied. People don't realise that. People were quite shocked when I tell them. Like, I was severely bullied in the care system, and obviously coming out of that care system, sort of in the streets before I had my first fight. I was about 14, 15. Obviously, when I hit someone for the first time, I just got a bit of a taste for it.
Felt good.
Yeah, it felt good because, you know, for years I had like, people taking the piss, and this one geezer, he got on to me a lot more than a lot of other kids did. It would come to the point where it was just getting fucking embarrassing, like he was doing it in front of girls and all that sort of stuff.
Just had enough.
Yeah, I was a scruffy kid in that as it was, do you know what I mean? I just get beat up, I just never hit back. Do you know what I mean? I got so in a habit of just taking it. And so I started mixing with one guy I knew from the town. And I started mixing with him. He was like a boy, he was a lad around the town. I started going around with him. And when I was going around with him now, I noticed I started getting respect for being around him. Like these people would stop in the town and you see him, you have a conversation, they didn't like nod to you and give you respect. It was like, oh, like people recognise me, I'm getting helloed at and shit like that, you know what I mean? And one day I was in town with this lad, and he got into an altercation with someone. He had a fight with someone. He whacked the kid up. And I said to him after, how'd you do that? He was like, what do you mean, how'd you do that? You bang him in his face. You know what I mean? Like, it's simple as that, isn't it? The kid's name used to pop around the town and that. So, not long after that, this one kid from my school, I didn't really go to school because of him, and I just thought, I knew where I lived at the time, they used to hang up the road, around the corner. That was like the spot, all like the kids that used to hang out, used to drink and all that. There was a local spot everyone used to meet up and hang out. So I said to myself, well, I lived in this flat around the corner, I'm going to go up and I'm going to punch him in his face. You know what I mean?
Planned the attack.
Yeah, I planned it, you know what I mean? I just thought, you know what I mean? Like, I thought it's going to be the only way to sort of solve this one, isn't it? You know what I mean? I was like,
crack him, yeah.
So I thought if I do it, I go up there and he's with everyone and all that, like, it's going to, do you know what I mean? I just want to let him know I'm going to make a statement. I remember when I was coming out of my flat shit, my fucking, I was going like that. Do you know what I mean? I was like, but in my head I had that mission, I'm going to go I'm going to punch him in his face, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't like, I had tunnel vision. But fuck it, I was like, but I you know, and I went up there and
cracked him.
Yeah, cracked him straight in his face, bro. Like, he was
How did he take that? How did he take that?
I think he was shocked. A lot of them were shocked now. We got into a little scuffle and that, no one really won or lost, but I went back a winner. Do you know what I mean? I went back skipping, do you know what I mean? I was like, I just felt so like the weight of the world was gone. Do you know what I mean? It was just like there was no, I just felt relieved, didn't it? But instead of it just being sort of that, that's when I got like,
it started your violent
that's
behaviour.
when it sort of started, and then trying to build a name for myself in the town and all that. But I was always, that's when I come very ballsy. I think coming from like violence, you know, when you've been on the receiving end of violence for many years and received it, and once you sort of took that emotion of like that fight or flight, that adrenaline, I was channeling it full instead of like fight. Instead of flight, I was channeling it all fight. And the buzz I was getting from that rush, and I think that's what I found quite addicting. Well, and that's how it all sort of started.
So how did you end up? Because obviously, big up SP as well. I saw the prison podcast. How did you end up going to prison and all that? How did you get to that point?
Prison, like if they've seen the podcast, I haven't. Obviously, it's out there. Like I did 10 years. I actually did 13 years. So basically, I did 10 years in one go. But before that, I was at 17. I was convicted for a knife crime.
Okay.
So and I got
What was that knife crime?
A lad got slashed in the hands.
Okay.
Stabbed in the back. So it was it's that antisocial lifestyle.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's that antisocial lifestyle. But the thing is, I thought when I sort of got involved with that violence, I think it always escalates. I think you go from punch ups, you go from jumping, you go from this, you go from like maybe it's like experimenting with a weapon, which is you know, I hit people with bats, or bits of fucking skips and all sorts. I hit people with bricks. I think it always sort of you're always willing to go further. And I think with me as well, especially with a lot of young lads, and I see these days now, it's that not having that consequence thinking. Do you get what I'm sort of saying? And
Yeah.
like when you're like, especially in towns like ours, there's smaller towns. Obviously London's massive, but where we live, you know, smaller towns. Like when you do something sort of ballsy or in that sort of antisocial world, your name starts popping and you get known. Do you know what I mean? It's all quite, you know, it's exciting. You know, you find it exciting. Like, you know, you got a reputation and this, and you do that one madness. After time, when it goes round, it's like Chinese whispers. It's like exaggerated a little bit, and that. You know, sometimes it ain't, but a lot of times it is. But when everyone's hearing it now and all this, like, you know, I was a young kid, but I think it was me. I think people just sort of worried what level I would take whatever to. Especially when you know all these lads live in their mum's house, living all that. Like, people don't really want that around them because it's unnerving. So, and that's what happened. It just got, you know.
So how long did you get for that one?
5 years for the night. I got 5 years.
And did you come out?
I come out. I was out for 7 months.
Okay.
And that's when I served 10 years. So I come out, but I hadn't changed. Do you know what I mean? At 2.5 years, I didn't change whatsoever.
No.
I got recalled for something I didn't actually do. But
Juvy's not very rehabilitating.
No.
Juvenile prison's not very.
Do you feel like you breezed through that, or was it hard for you, or?
I didn't kick off inside. I had a few occasions and that sort of stuff, but like not to like what I did in the 10.
Yeah.
Like I say breeze through. When I got moved about a little bit, it sort of breaks up the bird when you get moved about different places. It does sort of break it up a bit. You know what I mean? So I spent most of that sentence in Portland, in Weymouth. So I spent most of the time there, and I went towards the end. I went to Rochester. I got released from Rochester. I did in Feltham and all that. My brother's got a story about the Feltham actually.
Really?
I had to get him to say this on. There's actually a story. My brother when he went to Feltham. Can I say it? Should I say it?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Should we get to say it?
Go on.
How did it go?
Obviously, I went to Feltham, and I had some pictures that he sent me from when I was in the other jail. And as obviously you go into Feltham, they check you in, they check all your paperwork and everything. They've seen some of my pictures, and they're like, "Oh, who's this person in your picture?" They passed the picture around to a few of the govs. Then one of the govs like, we know this boy. And then the other govs like, yeah, we know this boy as well. And they kind of had a little story about him, about how he was a bit of a troublemaker and stuff. But this is probably 8 years, 9 years from when he was in Feltham. So
okay.
I left my mark.
Still remember.
Yeah, they still remember you.
I left my mark in some of them jails. You know what I mean? It's like, it was mad, like, wasn't it?
So what did you end up getting that 10 for then?
Oh, but there's a combination of things. So, I come out, like I said, I hadn't changed. I come out, I actually got recalled to prison for something I didn't do. There was a fight and a boozer. That literally had nothing to do with me. I think I had the same quality.
It had nothing to do with me as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, had nothing to do with me as well. It had nothing to do with me as well. You get what I'm saying?
Well, like, why is it if we say it, we find it hard to believe, innit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it didn't have nothing to do with us, governor. But
not guilty. So that happened, but I wasn't. I come out and I was doing other bits anyway, so I could have got recalled for something I did do anyway. So
yeah,
I got recalled. Case got thrown out, and then what my sentence? It was like they said. Obviously, they accused me of some like things that were going on in Lewis prison at the time.
Brandon.
Phones, yeah, down that way. Drugs, phones, and some kid he got hurt, and they started trying to pin it on me and that. So they found me the phone. They found me 2 phones, but they fucked up the nicking sheet, so they couldn't actually hold it against me. They were at the right time but wrong date. They were at the right date but wrong day or something. Anyway, the technicality of throwing it out, and they was fucking fuming over that.
Oh no.
But it goes to me. I went to Winchester. So it's alleged with the hostage taking that happened there. Obviously the Winchester prison roof that got done, and then what else I just got moving from prison to prison. But all these charges, obviously there was the slashing as well. Obviously I got slashed not long later. Someone else got slashed by 3 razors. No, like there's a rule in jail if you had the 2, but if you had the 2 razors together, it makes it difficult for them to sew it. So obviously you know that. I kind of thinking, well, if 2 does that much damage, what will 3 do? Do you get what I'm sort of saying? And you know, I don't know what happened, but not long later, this lad got a big slash across his back with 3 razors across his back.
Got done up, didn't he?
Yeah, but it was like a fucking bloodbath, mate. I mean, there was a blood scene, but there was all these charges started mounting up and that. And then, in the end, obviously after the escape attempt as well, after the end, they just give me a definite. So obviously. In the prison, it's more known as like the IPP, but with the IPP, there's normally a number that comes with it. With the hospital section 3741, there's no number that comes with it.
So the hospital thing, so is it used on a madman thing?
Well, when I was on top of Winchester Prison roof, I started saying things like, you know, get like the negotiators in. The people
how did they?
forces.
That's what I'm saying. How did they switch you from alright, he's a normal prisoner to nah, my man's mental. He's for over there. How like man's done some madnesses still, but I kind of skipped that. So I need to know where not to. No, I'm joking, but we need to let the people them know how not to get. But it's,
I think with me, like, do you know what I mean? It was being a bit like. I think I was kind of pissed off, so I was just on one. I think, like I said to you, I said it with Fish. I said in that all the madnesses, I found peace in all the madnesses. Do you get what I'm saying? When all these dramas are happening, I just felt relaxed. You know what I mean? When all that uncertainty, not knowing when I was getting out and all this, it was EVR. My head was going. I think, you know, admittedly, I did lose. You know, I did lose the plot. I did lose the plot a little bit. But I did. But when I was sitting on top of like prison roofs, ripping it up, and then sitting there asking for like Elvis Presley impersonator singing "Faith" by George Michael, they're gonna look at you thinking, I don't think he's right. You know what I mean? That's
but
what
you know what it is.
like,
you know, like on the wing, bro. Yeah. You know as well. You know how much madman that man know off the wing. Madman, you're definitely lost it. Like I bucked so much madman, yeah, and it's like not everyone gets sent to the madhouse, and there's a lot of people on the wing that need that help.
Yeah.
They actually need that help. Like none of the screws, none of the SO, no one got help them where they are. Do you get what I'm saying? This man like gone. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then all what's gonna happen is that guy ends up slashing up his cellmate whilst he's sleeping for no reason, or you hear it all the time.
Exactly.
Do you get what I'm saying? So it's weird how they determine who needs that help. Like you had to get violent and go mad to get that help, but then you got people that's just mad on the wing, normal mad, and not getting that help.
Which is all it's problematic, isn't it? I think when you become sort of like problematic.
Yeah, do you feel like they wanted you out there anyway?
I think you just didn't really know what to do with you in the end, didn't it? It was either seg him off all the time, because
how did you find
it? They can't medicate you in prison.
Yeah,
they can't force medicate you in the mental hospitals.
They can.
They force medicate you. They're very happy to do that as well. So I think that comes into it as well. Like, you know, if these people, you know, they need to be medicated. And
how did you find the difference between like jail and like the I'm quite interested in all that.
Broadmoor's another world, mate. Broadmoor's like fucking.
No, you didn't go Broadmoor straight away though, did you?
I went to a medium secure first.
How was that? Like the change from like, because Broadmoor's a whole. We'll get to Broadmoor. Broadmoor's even a change from the normal. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But how was the switch?
To be honest, it was a bit more like, it wasn't too bad. Do you get what I'm sort of saying? It wasn't like, you meet the characters. This was my first time sort of meeting, but at that time I was in a bad place sort of mentally anyway.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? My head wasn't in a good place. So I think it was hospital probably what I needed at the time.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? I had a lot of like, you know, especially emotionally wise, there was a lot going on in my head. And it was probably what needed. But obviously that's when, like, you know, the biggest, obviously there was escape attempts. So obviously when you do the escape attempt, amongst other things, that's when obviously the high risk category. So obviously I couldn't go back there, and yeah, that's when I got high secured off.
How was what was the inmates like? What sort of stories can you tell us about?
Do you know what? Like, in the high secure, the stories in that you hear, I can tell you stories, yeah, but it's little. Some of them be hard to fucking believe.
Yeah, that's what
I'm thinking. Like, there's some.
What was association like? Like bloody hell.
It's just like.
Did you have the pool? Did you still pool? Play like table tennis?
Yeah,
like,
table tennis and all that. Like, but it's a different vibe.
Okay.
It's a different vibe in them places, mate. Like you meet some level-headed people, but then you just meet people that are gone. They're gone so far, they're not coming back. Do you
feel like it's because everyone's highly medicated, so like they're not really?
Well, no, highly medicated just to fucking burn you out. Like you know, a lot of patients out there are overweight. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So the meds makes you eat. The brain does you, innit?
Yeah.
You know, and then you got, if you don't take the meds, like when I was there, you know, I got the hot water, then he got me in the back with a fork and that, just because he thought I was a zombie. Do you get what I mean? The thing I said on this podcast here, like, you know, in prison when it's gonna go off, there's a bit of a vibe.
Yeah.
Or there's like politics, you know, like,
you kind of know what's going on.
Someone breaks the rules, you know, it's gonna kick off. Or someone's got something to prove. Do you know what I mean? You sort of know in jail, a lot of ego in that as well in prison and that. Yeah. So in the hospitals, there's none of that really ego in that. It's more, you don't know what's going on in their heads. Then you ain't gonna pick up a vibe. because there is no sort of like
You
it's
could just
going on
get
in their
attacked for
head.
no reason.
You might pick up someone's moving a bit shady, but in there people move funny all the time.
Normal.
Yeah, so you can't determine that's a bit strange. All the things you see there's fucking strange. Do you know what I mean? But that's just how that place is. So it's more the violence and all that inside the hospitals are more unprovoked. Do you get what I'm sort of saying? Whereas in like sort of prison, an argument can escalate, right, people get into it, or he's not paid, or you know what I mean? The whole sort of probably everyone's probably seen jail films, innit? You know what I mean? So there's all that sort of what can cause.
Did you get
dramas.
more visits when you was in there? Could you get more
when I was
visits?
abroad,
Yeah.
I stopped talking to everyone. There was a rumour went round that I died in that as well. I hung myself, or someone killed some shit like that. So there was that went round. To be honest, like I said, I just got that big sentence.
Yeah.
You know, I had no release date. So what, 21, 22? This is done, innit?
Yeah.
Like, I stopped talking to everyone.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, what's the fucking point? Right? All the dramas going on inside and that as well.
Yeah.
You know, it was just hell. Do you know what I mean? It was just sort of fucking hell. But you know, I decided to keep fighting the system, and I ended up getting kicked out of it.
That's good. I'm glad you got.
I'm glad they fucking
yeah.
kicked me out.
Yeah.
I'm fucking.
Come
When they
on.
told me it was like a bad thing. You know what I mean? I'm fucking.
See, like in prison, like you got like the nonce wing and all that. Yeah. How is it like over there? Everyone mixed.